How's it doing?
It's good.
Shannon, your thoughts just on the progression of the offense? You guys seem to get better each week, which obviously is your goal.
Yeah, I mean we're getting better at some things. I thought we took a step back in others. I mean, we had some pre-snap penalties that we haven't had. We've been playing fairly clean football, but we had some things that kind of popped up there through the course of the game. A couple times that probably 2 drives that we were like, you know, we were 4th and 1 on 1, and we ended up having to punt because we had a false start, and then we were 3rd and medium, and it got into a 3rd and 10. So those kind of things, obviously, we need to clean up. But overall, just the little parts of like red zone scoring touchdowns obviously was an issue in game 1. We've played a lot better in the red zone than we did then. And so that's very productive. Critical downs have been really good. We're good that week. And so certain things we've gotten better and certain things we need to improve drastically on.
Shannon, you guys had 6 kids with a catch and 4 kids carry the ball, including 1 by Carson, in the first quarter alone Saturday. Just how important is it to get a lot of guys going early, or is it?
No, I think ball distribution is huge, you know, and so, you know, I like to see a lot of guys involved with the ball in their hand. You know, we have a lot of very capable playmakers, and the ball is getting spread around a lot, and it can get spread around even more. I mean, our tight ends didn't have the production in the pass game, but they really could have. There was about 5 or 6 plays out there where they were the first read that they could have had a big impact in the pass game, and they will. I mean, that stuff happens. I mean, they're in every pass concept, and you know, they're the first read sometimes, second read sometimes, and but ultimately the ball is getting spread around a lot, and it will find those guys. I mean, it just, you know, sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and so but the ball distribution has been good. Like, I like to see balls spread around, and like I said in the first press conference of the year, I mean, we were going to roll a lot of people at receiver, and you know, those guys are playing more, and so we're playing more guys, and so that's very good to see. A lot of young guys are playing a lot.
Speaking of guys who kind of you've been able to spread the ball out to and stuff, Josh Moore obviously gets his first 2 touchdowns. Just can you talk a little bit about his dynamism and like how hard he worked to get on the field?
I mean, he's a really hard worker. He's shown signs early on that he can really stretch the field, and he has the length and stuff, the radius to really make an impact down the field. And so it was good to see Saturday what we've seen a lot in camp of him making plays down the field. You know, we go one-on-ones and we go team throughout camp. He really showed up a lot. But I say this a ton. I mean, it takes time for that to show up on Saturdays, you know, and so those plays he made Saturday will only give him more confidence moving forward, you know. And the touchdown was an elite play because the kid really got his arm in there and he had strong hands and he held onto the ball. That was good to see because, you know, those balls are, you know, you like to stretch the field, but the success rate on those verticals aren't necessarily the highest at times, you know. And so we've completed probably more outside vertical routes this year than we probably did at any point last year, you know. And so that's good to see. Guys are making contested catches, which is good.
We've seen a lot of good from Carson over the last 3 weeks. Throws the 2 interceptions. Mario said that he was basically able to just flip the switch and next week. Just what's it like having, again, you had Cam last year who's had the same mindset, to be able to have that veteran presence at quarterback where a mistake happens, he's able to just flush it quickly and move on to the next one.
Yeah, you wonder because it's been, you know, the first 2 weeks was no turnovers, which I would rather no turnovers. But inevitably it's going to happen. Like, you're going to throw a pick at some point, right? And so, you know, the first pick he threw was really a really good play by the DB, I should say. And then the other one, we had some, like, our receivers were a little too close together. He was really throwing it to Tony. Malley just jumped out the gym and almost caught it. But ultimately what you like to see is nothing. Like, that's what you like to see. The quarterback come over and absolutely move directly on from interceptions, you know, and that's what I saw. You know, he moved on, and then you know, if you remember the backed up throw he made to Malley in the seam, I mean, that was in a small window, and that was right after the 2 interceptions, backed up. So that play is one that sticks out in my head because, you know, if you have any, you know, gun shyness about you from throwing a pick, you're not going to attempt that throw, you know, so that was really good to see.
Speaking of things Carson's was attempting, he had a couple, you know, maybe not like design runs, but like option plays that he decided to keep and was successful doing that. Just how much do you balance? Like, I'm sure he is happy to go do it, but obviously trying to protect him. Like, how do you balance that kind of play calling, I guess?
Well, he has to do it a lot. He has to do it a lot more than I do it. And so you know, probably most plays that he draws up on my board in my office are some form of a quarterback run game, which is hysterical. And so, but ultimately in our run game, especially our zone game, I mean, if people are going to squeeze the box like South Florida was doing, then we have to make them account for him as a runner, because he is a lot more athletic than people will probably give him credit for, and he's big, he's hard to tackle. And so if people are squeezing the box like they're doing, that's just another way to get the ball outside, which I know y'all say I'm just running inside, but that's actually a run that gets outside. And so we scored on outside zone, so there you go, you know.
We didn't say it's all you do, we said it's what you do 77% of the time.
That percentage is going down a little bit.
It did go down this week.
Yeah.
Well, what does it matter what's it matter that Carson has played against Florida twice? Does that mean
I mean, experience is always good. You know, I mean, he's played a lot of football. I don't know if it matters in the sense of like, now he's playing with different guys and different scheme. So, you know, nothing matters. I mean, honestly, every week is kind of a clean slate. Like nothing matters the week before. I mean, we know the Florida team we're going to get, and I've been watching film on them for 2 straight days, and I can promise you this, they don't look like a 1-2 football team. And so that's very clear. Defensively, they're big up front. They're very athletic. I think they've given up 2 touchdowns all year, right? So, I mean, that's pretty good in 3 games. Statistically, you're the stats guy.
Shannon, with the offensive line, just how would you evaluate the group through 3 games? I know you've talked so much coming into the season about how much they want to be that group that sort of sets the tone. Just how you feel like
I mean, very solid. Obviously, we have things to get better at every position. And so there's things we're going to improve week to week there. But the physicality of the game and the ability to take over the game and really impose our will running the football, and they've done a great job. And, you know, I would say the one thing that you talk about up front, and a big part of our pass game is the way they protect. You know, it's for a quarterback, and it doesn't matter who you are. I mean, Tom Brady down to me, right? Which is a big difference. Like, you know, it's my point. It's like no quarterback can play with people like around them and hitting them, right? And so it's vital to our pass game, obviously, that our protection and those guys do an excellent job up front, and they do. You know, so they really take ownership of both, and both is running the ball and pass protection are both very physically demanding, jobs, because if you're in pass protection, it's like a one-on-one street fight for 5 seconds or however long the quarterback holds the ball, so it's a tough job.
Which formation did you have the most fun unveiling on Saturday, or some different looks?
The one you think about. Tank.
When's the last time you had that in your?
I've done it before in the past. I don't think I've ran that specific set for probably, since I've been here, I haven't ran it, I don't think. But I've ran it a couple times at other schools. I know at West Virginia we did that a little bit. It wasn't the same people back there as far as who they were, but it was very similar. And so it's a very good short yardage set, obviously, if you're big and you can move people. You gotta just, the thing about those heavy sets is you gotta have some throws out of it too. You can't just do one thing.
What's that like when you have stuff you use once every 5 years? I mean, you've got things that I know you want to break out. I mean, I'm sure there's stuff you work on that you don't use in any game, and just because the opportunity never presented itself, and you kick yourself, and you're like,
Yeah.
that would have been fun to try. What's it like having all these toys and just not having, you can't use them all at once?
No, and you know, a lot of the heavy stuff is, you know, Mirabal does a really good job with that. And so, you know, he has all the short yardage stuff and goal line stuff. Yeah, I just do whatever he wants to do, to be honest with you, in the run game. And then, and we'll have some throws and stuff out of it. But more, you know, what I think about more about the question you ask is just like, there's some specific plays that you just keep carrying in your game plan that you never call, you know, just because the situation never quite presents itself, you know, and it might be a little bit riskier play than you're willing to take at certain points in the game. And so there is a couple of them right now that's been on the sheet for about a year and a half. And so I'd like for them to fall off the sheet, but you know, the right situation has to present itself for those to fall off. And so, you know, you like to keep a handful of, you know, those special plays going and active. And so, but you know, the situation doesn't always present itself for those.
You more than likely, first offensive snap of the game is going to be probably at the 25 more often than not, something like that. You know.
At the 25-yard line?
Yes.
Yeah, if it's a kickoff.
Have you ever just said, you know what, I'm doing it this week, first play we're doing this, and just break out one of these back of the playbook type
I don't know if
things?
I've ever done it the first play. I have to really think about that. But I've done a lot of them on the first drive, just based on like making yourself do it, you know. I remember there was the bowl game when I was at Houston, we played Auburn in the bowl game, the Birmingham Bowl. And going into that game, I mean, there was a little bit of a talent tilt to them, obviously. And so, but I mean, we won the game. And so it was a low scoring game, but we won the game. But we had about 4 plays in that game that was like tricky-ish plays, you know, those kind of type special plays. And so I just remember Dana telling me, like, starting midweek of that week, he just told me, he's like, look, he said, I don't want any of them on the damn script at the end of the game. And so I was like, so I just like, at that game, I just like made myself, and none of them hit. None of them hit. Like, I think we went 0 for 4. And I think we threw a pick on one. And so I was like, you know, those kind of plays, they either make the internet and it looks great, or you look like an idiot, you know. So it's one or the other. And so I'm a big, you know, that's a good question, but I'm a huge fan of routine plays, and I'm a huge fan of doing what you do and like what you're good at, you know. And I think that there's 2 different thought processes probably in my job. There's people that want to get on the internet, and there's people that want to run their system. And I'm more of I don't care if I ever get on the internet, you know. I want to run plays that our guys execute well, and I want to run routine things that we are comfortable with, and methodically move the ball. And so, if that answers your question.
Live stream on the internet.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I'm fine with this getting on. You know what I'm talking about.
Shannon, what did Mark Fletcher do well to have the production, the game that he had last?
I don't know what the actual stat was. My man here might know, but he had a lot of yards after contact. You know, he really did. There were some runs there, and obviously we blocked things up well, but they really did. I mean, they came out and really stacked the box on us. I mean, they made the box really tight. And so there were some runs he made that he got hit within 2 or 3 yards of the line of scrimmage, and we gained 10 or 15 yards. And part of that was our O-line's push, you know, and even on the big run, you know, Malley, Keelan, CJ, all those guys were blocking 20, 30, 40 yards down the field. And so he had a lot of help with people blocking, which, you know, is great to see. But he really did a good job after first contact. And he's a hard guy to bring down. He's a big guy. And so, you know, he did a good job of hanging in there. And sometimes those runs are really muddy. Coach Cristobal says it all the time. I mean, in games like that, there's going to be some muddy runs, and like every now and again, you're going to spit one out and get a big one.
It was 90 yards after contact.
90, there you go. So I thought it was a good number, but I didn't know exactly what it was.
You mentioned the offensive line. They've obviously gotten off to a good start to the year. You know, Carson's been pressured a handful of times. The running game's been doing well. How have you seen, I guess, the O-line progressed since you got here for over the last 3 years? Just, I mean, progressed from where it was 3 years ago to where it is now?
A lot of guys have played a lot. You know, I mean, it's a very talented group. It's deep. And so we've added some pieces. Like James is a guy you add, and I mean he's fit into Coach Mirabal and what we asked for the center to do. I mean he goes about his business in a very professional way, you know, week to week. And so just the way Coach Mirabal packages things and presents things, I mean, he's a very elite teacher. And so we're able to do a fairly good bit up front as far as, you know, there's a tipping point of like trying to be good at running the football and being good at pass protecting. That's like a deal everybody kind of struggles with because you got to split time, and there's only so much time at practice, you know. And I think he does an elite job at buying time to work on protection in certain parts of practice where he'll get over, and he does a lot of time with the run game too. So, you know, the way he splits his time up, you know, throughout practice, throughout the week allows us to do both fairly well. And so I do think the development of those guys has a lot to do with the way he coaches them and the way he spends his time with them.
Trying to get your boss to bite on this, and predictably he did not.
What makes you think I am?
Prefacing it, just to let you know, does a week like this feel different around here when you're playing the Gator, when you're playing FSU in a couple of weeks? Do these weeks feel different?
I mean, obviously we know who we're playing, right? And so, but for me, it's the rhythm of the week once you get in the season is the same. I mean, I try to, you know, when I talked to the group this morning, that's exactly what I told them. I was like, look, it's Monday. What do we do on Monday? We get to know our opponent on Monday, right? Tuesday is a work day, you know, and so I think if you keep blinders on and you keep the rhythm of the week the same, you know, the opponent's going to change every Saturday. We obviously know this is a rival, but ultimately the rhythm of the week and the way we go about our business on Green Tree and in the meeting rooms are going to be the reason you have a chance for success on Saturday. And so with games like this, there's more distractions, but it's more important for coaches to put blinders on everybody and just stay focused on the task at hand. And the task at hand today was what it was, and tomorrow will be, you know, like, let's get ready for, you know, open field and third down, you know. So it's, you know, our kids are pretty focused on the task at hand. And so I don't know if many of them get distracted by that. I would hope they don't.
And to go back to ball distribution for a second, Mario did say that he anticipates JoJo and Jordan will go Saturday. That's another ball carrier, another receiver.
Yeah.
Where you've got a lot of bodies already. I guess this would be a nice problem to have. But
It's a good problem.
how does
you know,
that work?
Well, I mean, you know, put them in there and let them make plays, you know. I mean, I don't really overthink it. I mean, you put 11 guys on the field, and so rotating guys through, or, you know, the position coaches are really, you know, we go over rotations at the end of the week, but it's really their job in games to get people involved that they feel like need to be involved, you know. And so, you know, I lean on those guys a lot for that, because that's something I can't necessarily think about in the flow of the game. And so now there are certain times in the game where I'll make a comment like, hey, like, starters need to be out there. You know, this is one of those times. And so that happens. But other than that, like, if you're playing in a game, we trust you. You know, if you're going out there and you're taking reps, we trust you. You've earned the trust. And we think you can make the play. And so about kids playing in the game, I'll let Coach Cristobal talk about, like, who's available and who's not available. But if people are available and we trust them, then we're going to play them.
Probably your most explosive drive was the first possession coming out of the delay.
Yeah.
Is that impressive to you? Was that surprising? What did that say to you?
Well, I mean, we stayed focused through the time, and I forget exactly how long the delay was. It seemed like it was probably 95 minutes. Y'all were on point with these stats today. But we came out, and they got the ball first. And so it was like even more a longer wait, right? And so they got the ball first. I can't remember exactly. I'm trying to remember that drive. Was that Mark's long touchdown? Yeah. And so it was really a 3 or 4 play. Yeah, 3-play drive. And so yeah, that was that was good, because we needed that was still, it was before halftime because of the break, and that got it to 28, I think, right? 28 to 6, 28 to 3.
Forget if it's 20 or
Yeah.
21.
Yeah, so it was good. Yeah, you hope that you come out of the break and you don't go out there and have a lull, you know? And so now we had a little lull shortly after that a couple times, but, you know, it's gonna happen.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate you guys.